Hello everyone, it is Jazz here, and today I was struck in the moment to do the Bookish Scenarios book tag. This was created by Lindsay Hertz Books, so I will leave the link to her video in the description, but basically it's 7 bookish scenarios and you have to choose books that go with those or say what you would do in those situations. So let's go on with the tag. Question 1. You have to give away all of your books and you can only keep 4 books from 4 genres, and they are contemporary, nonfiction, fantasy, and a genre of your choice. Which books do you choose to keep? I feel like my first one might be sort of a cheat because I feel like it's actually more of a literary fiction, but I think it has elements that are contemporary, so I'm just going to pick it anyway and go with Harold and Maude by Colin Higgins. It is a quirky romance, and I love a quirky romance, and it makes me laugh a lot, and it also has sad parts in it, so it just gives you the feels. And it's just a really short, excellent, fun book, so I definitely would want to keep that. But I only have it in ebook, so I hope I have an e-reader. For my fantasy pick, I have to keep Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman because it's one of my favorite fantasy reads, and it's also one of my favorite standalone books, and I just love this wacky adventure and the characters in it, so I have to keep this one. For my nonfiction pick, it's actually not a memoir or a biography or any of the other nonfiction-y things that you can kind of pick that are more of a story-oriented thing. It's actually sort of a writing tool, and it is the character naming source book. I have not yet written a book. Maybe I will someday in my life, but I still really love paging through this book and looking at character names and finding out what they mean, and also finding out where different names come from. So if I ever did write a book, I would definitely need this book in my life, and I just love just looking through it when I haven't written anything yet. So yeah, I have to keep this one. I'm kind of addicted to it. And I decided that you need a good classic book in your life. So I would definitely have to keep Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which somehow always comes up in a tag video, so you're probably sick of Jane Eyre, but I am not sick of Jane Eyre. I love this classic book, and it is awesome. And yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite books, so I'd have to keep it. Scenario number 2 is that you are in a bookstore and you see this teenager complaining about how they don't like to read, but their parent insists that they pick out a book, and thus you recommend a book to them. For some reason, the book that popped into my mind for this was Holes by Louis Sakar. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but I hope that was right. I feel like a variety of ages would like this, as well as the fact that it is a short, easy to get into adventure kind of read, and also it is a book that both guys and girls can enjoy, so I went with Holes. Question number 3 is a scenario where you are just not feeling yourself and you need to read something to give you a little bit of a pickup and just raise your spirits. So what book would that be? And I, hands down, would go and read Anne of Green Gables, because this year I definitely was in that kind of sad-y, slumpy mood, and I picked up Anne of Green Gables, and it definitely made me just so happy because she always gets into scrapes, but she always has a positive attitude about how she handles it, and I think that just puts me in a good mood. Number 4, you can go back in time for one day to your teenage years, and what book would you find yourself reading? Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle, or one of the books in that series. That was probably the first sci-fi series that I remember really getting into, and also they were probably the first actual series that I remember getting and like really wanting to reread over and over again. I also recall that in high school I really started reading some Stephen King books. so probably something by Stephen King. Number 5, your friend surprises you with a 4-day trip and you only have 1 hour to pack. What book do you take with you? I decided to go with Dune by Frank Herbert because I've been reluctant to start it. I'm not sure if I'll like it, and the size of it is really intimidating. So I think if I took it on a road trip and it was like the only book that I had, I would be forced to sit and read it. Hopefully I would enjoy it. Number 6 is a strange scenario in which your house has been robbed and everyone is safe, but your bookshelf has been raided. What book do you really hope is still on your shelf? Hardback edition of Comic Book Tattoo, because this thing was really kind of expensive, and the only reason I was able to get it was because there's a super great sale on Amazon and there was only like one left, and I'm not sure how many hardbacks of this book they are going to ever sell, so please don't steal this. However, I would also be super disappointed if somebody stole my copy of the illustrated edition of The Princess Bride by William Goldman, because it just seems like a very pretty book that someone would steal, and yeah, don't steal this either because the sadness would be real. The last question is that your friend borrows a book of yours and returns it in really horrible condition. Do you A, pretend that you haven't noticed, B, ask them to buy you a new copy of the book, or C, secretly do the same thing to them? I'll probably go with B and kindly ask them to repurchase the book for me, just because, you know, you really should take responsibility for your actions. Probably they should offer to buy you a new copy. That is the end of my tag video today. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you next week with a monthly wrap-up video. So I will see you then. Thank you for watching. Bye!